Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In the current context that we are experiencing to the COVID-19 pandemic, our working methods have been disrupted. The need to adapt pushed companies to an organizational change in work. This has led companies to turn to practices such as bring your own device. What does it mean? Bring your own device designates the use of personal IT equipment in a professional context. For example, this could be an employee who uses personal equipment, such as their computer, tablet, or smartphone, in order to be connected to the corporate network. Furthermore, this kind of situation, as the current one, has led to reform of the French Labour Code in 2012 in order to provide a legal framework as set out under the provision of Article L1222/11 that sets that in the event of exceptional circumstances, in particular the threat of an epidemic, or in cases of force majeure, the implementation of home office work may be considered as an adaptation of the workstation made necessary to allow the continuity of the company's activity and to guarantee the protection of the employees. This regulation do not specify the BYOD practice, as it is not stated the personal IT equipment. However, these provisions seems to be useful applicable to the bring your own device practice. Either way, the possibility of using personal tools is above all a choice of the employer, who can just as well authorize it under conditions or prohibit it. However, in view of the blurring of the border between private and professional life, the decision to turn this type of practice must have considered a balance of interest and disadvantages. In this context, the data and their uses shall remain protected. The employer is responsible for the security of his company's personal data, including what it stores on terminals over which he has no physical or legal control, which he has authorized the use of to access computer resources of the company. The risk against which it is essential to protect oneself range from the specific attack to the availability, the integrity and the confidentiality of the data, to the general compromise of the information system of the company, like intrusion, virus, trojans, etc. To reduce these risks, the employer shall, first of all, identify the risks, considering the specificities of the context, which equipment, which applications, which data, and estimate them in terms of severity and likelihood. Secondly, the employer shall determine the measures to be implemented and formalize them in a security policy. The French Data Protection Authority recommend to partition the parts of the personal tool intended to be used in a professional context, set up encryption measures for information flows like VPN, HTTPS, etc., control remote access by a robust user authentication device, if possible by using an electronic certificate or smart card, provide the procedures in the event of failure, loss of the personal terminal, make users aware of the risks, formalize everyone's responsibility and specify the precautions to be taken in a binding charter, make the use of personal equipment subject to prior authorization from the network administrator and or the employer. Based on this, companies should definitely acquire an IT charter or adapt their own IT charter to this type of practice, because it allows to supervise the bring your own device practice and the processing of the data carried out. In this respect, the provision of Article L1222/10, second paragraph of the French Labour Code said that, in addition to its obligation under ordinary law towards its employees, the employer is bound towards that home office working employee to inform the employee of any restrictions on the use of computer equipment or tools or electronic communication services, and of the sanction in the event of non-compliance with such restrictions. For example, the IT charter shall define, first, which employees are eligible for the bring your own device. Secondly, which devices can be used and under what conditions. Thirdly, which application of the company can be used by the employees. Fourthly, what types of documents are accessible for consultation and or modification, etc. However, it should not be reviewed or created urgently to respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Therefore, internal company circulars must be used and are accepted and are valid in the context of the situation. In this context, the IT and security director must intervene and be integrated into the process of creating or modifying said charter. It is better to limit access to the network than to stable employees and therefore not to authorize such access to temporary workers or trainees. These latter are considered as non-stable collaborators. However, it is essential for them to continue their activity with the company. To do this, document communication must go through stable employees who will be responsible for going for the network and communicating to the information they need. This organization admittedly longer increases data security. Thank you all for your attention. Take care of yourself and stay at home.